Hey, Jeff, how are you?
I was just
Hello,
grooving.
Jeff.
I was grooving to it.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Hi, Jeff.
Do you know this is season 2
Of? Oh, this. Oh, my
Look at-
God.
Look at
Oh, look at the
see what happened?
balloons. Look at the balloons.
Episode 33.
Look
everybody.
at the balloons, everyone.
Balloons.
Look at the balloons.
Yes.
Yeah, well, it's season 2, and today is December 63rd. Things continue to creep on here with the winter in our part of the country. And I know some folks are like, we're in San Diego and it's cold and it was like 60 degrees yesterday and we're freezing. And I'm like, no. Anyway, how are you, Jeff?
I'm great.
Yeah.
Good to get through the holidays and all that. And we had a couple of Thursdays without the show. So
I know.
itching to get back here.
Those 2 Thursdays, truth be told, I just sat here in front of this computer and spoke for an hour anyway. Never turned it live. So we've got a great guest today, and we've got a great topic, and we're going to be getting into all that in just a few minutes. We're going to be talking about, building a brain-forward CPG brand. I'm going to turn off my phone here so it quits dinging. We're going to talk a lot about a lot of things, and we'll probably take a few of the off-ramps and go places nobody expected, but we'll see. Creative process versus performance pressure. What scaling actually breaks first, what breaks in a massive scale, if you will. And wherever you're watching from, and hopefully you guys are warm, safe, and dry. And make sure you put your questions. Oh, Kelly Elaine is here, and she says it is cold in LA. Yep, been there, cold and hungry. So wherever you are, if you've got questions, you want to drop them in here, and you can just drop them right into the comments. And I will assure you that if anybody here, hello, Marlene, hello, Richard, if you're not connected with any of us, I highly recommend that you do. Although, I'll do what's done to me. I'll keep you in the friend zone for a while. Just I'll keep you in the friend zone before we actually get together.
Limbo.
So, and we've got our usual special appearance by Cogs, as we'll call him, or I like to call him Robert. And I think he brought company. So hopefully, yes. Jeff, did you get the pound cake I asked you to get?
I did.
Because pound cake is always got to be available when you have company. Yeah. All right. So our guest is patiently waiting in the green room. He's probably trashing it as we speak. Today, we've got a fella by the name of Will Nitze. He's the founder and CEO of IQBar. He's also the co-host of Eating Glass podcast. And he's got a BA from some little dink school in Cambridge. I think they call it Harvard. Incredible. He's a chess player. He's a dachshund dad, or is it dash hund? I don't know. Jeff, do you have a theory on that?
I'm not sure.
Okay. He
also
happens to be a serious reader, and I think he'll clarify the dachshund dilemma that we have.
Yes, dachshund dilemma.
Dachshund drama we've got, which means we're going to be getting into some real talk with a real founder, and we're going to talk about the original IQBar if we can, the misses, the hits, the wins, all that stuff, and what it takes to scale a CPG brand without your ops or your brain completely melting down. Okay. So without further ado, I really want everybody to put their hands together and welcome him into the room. Even though we can't hear it, we can feel it. So start clapping, kids. Here comes Mr. Will Nitze.
Howdy.
Hey, Will.
Hello, Will.
How's my audio and all that?
What's that?
How's my audio? And
it sounds great.
It sounds good. I'm gonna bump up your volume on my end just a scotch. How's that sound? All right. Because I think we can do that right in here. Let me just find the right spot. Oh boy. Well, thanks for coming on, man. You're a busy guy. I can only imagine. Now, where are you today? You're not. Are you somewhere warm? Because that's what I'm guessing.
I'm in Miami Beach, so yeah. a bit balmier than where you're at.
Yes, I can imagine.
Yes, balmy is a good word. So where are you from originally, Will?
From Morristown, New Jersey. Well, I was born in Baltimore, grew up in Morristown, New Jersey. Went to college at Harvard in Cambridge, Mass. Stayed in Boston, Mass for 10 years, and then I moved to Miami Beach 2 and change years ago.
Nice. Do you miss anything in New England?
Yeah. Oddly enough, I actually miss the cold a bit. I actually like it when it's cold down here. Yeah. There's just so much, like every day is like Groundhog Day here. So when you get a rainy day or a cold day, it's kind of nice. So I actually do miss the cold a bit. There's great people in Boston. I would say there's a bit more get up and go. There's a bit more ambitious folks that maybe I relate to more than Miami Beach, if I'm being honest with you.
Sure.
But no, I mean, both places have their merits.
Sure, of course. Sure. I grew up just outside of Boston, so I spent a lot of time in Cambridge in Harvard Square. I'm sure you remember. Right. Were you there when out-of-town news was still a thing? It was that little.
I recall that. What is that? A storefront?
It was a legitimate newsstand with magazines and newspapers.
Oh right? Yeah. No, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes.
All the skaters and punks hang out.
Yep.
It's where we used to ride our bicycles over there and steal magazines and ride them home.
That's like the landmark one, like the main one right outside of the square.
Yes.
No, I know
exactly right on. That's right. Yeah, I had a lot of good times in that space. So cool. While we're talking about human stuff, let's just for folks that don't know you, we talked about that you are an avid chess player, I believe. Do you have a style, aggressive, positional, chaos? Or are you just like, I want to capture as many people as I can first? What's your deal with chess?
Well, my deal, I actually don't play as much as I would like to. I play online sometimes, but I played a ton as a kid. That was like an obsessive hobby as a kid. Played in tournaments, traveled all over the place. I never really had like a signature style. I would say I'm a more defensive player. I like to trade pieces. I like to get pieces off the board. I like to make it to the end game because I was a good end game player. Not a chaos player, I'll tell you that much.
My 10-year-old is a pure chaos player, and she's great. She really does enjoy chess. And of course, I try to remind her, like, you're obsessed over like losing pieces. She freaks out when any piece of hers is gone. But the funny thing is, at 10 years old, and I've been playing with her since she was 6, she can beat me legitimately. Like, I'm not throwing the game. She actually can beat me at it. And she joined the chess club in school. I think the 6th grade chess club when she was in 4th grade. They let her join in once, and they were like, your daughter actually has this down. She can be part of the team, which I thought was really exciting. How about books? I understand you're a book reader as well. Any great new books you want to recommend to our audience?
Yeah, well, I was just traveling, and I do my most reading when I'm on planes and trains and sitting in hotel rooms. And so I actually just snagged 2 recent books out of the bookstore, just like airport bookstore. And Empire of Pain, excellent read about the Sackler family and the OxyContin crisis.
Oh, right. Wow.
Which is interesting because I had a class in Sackler Museum at Harvard. Art class, and I never really dug deep into it, but it is just a wild story. Highly recommend that. And then I read Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, which was okay. I would give that a B to B plus. It was, there were some good nuggets, but you know what I did appreciate about it is it was short, and most business books are way too long. My favorite line out of that was, I'll butcher it, but it was something to the effect of, if someone buys a $100,000 car and you look at the car, the only data point you know about that person is that they're $100,000 less rich.
Right.
That's the only data point you have. And I was like, whoa. Like, that's such an interesting, because especially in Miami, everyone's like leasing cars to like look cool and whatnot. And it's like, you actually only have one data point, is that they're negative 100,000. The other thing too is also on the car vector is which made me think differently about material things in general, is when people see a nice car, they're actually just looking at the car. They don't care who's in the car. The person bought the car because they thought that all the oglers on the sidewalk would be looking at them, and actually zero are looking at them. They're all looking at the car. So net is completely useless move because everyone's just looking at the car. So you that person thinks they're the subject of the gaze, and they're not, and thus negating the whole point of getting that car in the first place. So
yeah,
those are some good nuggets from the Morgan Housel book.
Awesome.
And then Barbarians at the Gate is my last recommendation.
Yeah. I'm a big book reader too, and I've got my Kindle for upstairs reading with 1,000 books on it that I'm, mostly finished with, but some I've got 6. Sometimes, you just have 4 or 5 books going at once, and you just kind of read whatever you're in the mood for, right? And then there's the downstairs, because I am a book, like I want the real book in most cases. Are you a digital book guy or a real book?
No, I tried it. I went through an audiobook kick. I have to read a physical book. There's no other way.
Yep.
For me.
I've never liked audiobooks. In fact, I've actually done a few audiobooks and like as the narrator, and I hated it then too. And apparently everybody that bought it hated it too. So, what are you going to do? So one of the things I was thinking about earlier was, running through your let's do this. Let's start here. Let's tell us a little bit about IQBar. For those, I don't know what rock you're living under if you haven't heard of IQBar, but can you tell us a little bit about the company and the brand and what inspired it and how it got started?
Sure. I'll give you the actual. There's like a media answer, and I'll skip that, and I'll give you the real answer.
That's the one.
The actual answer is I took a job out of college, which was great. Worked for great people, a great company, but I was selling software to oil and gas companies, and didn't enjoy it. I didn't really enjoy software. I didn't really enjoy oil and gas. I got really good at it and got promoted, and I would not trade that for anything. I learned what it's like to work in a company and have a boss and have a boss's boss, and all that was like incredibly great in terms of me building a baseline of competence and understanding how business works. But I was like, I can't do this for 30 years. I can't do this for 40 years. So I just got really into nutrition for personal reasons. I felt terrible physically, and I had a terrible diet. This was like 2015, 16, and paleo as a dietary trend was getting big. And so I tried that, and I found it to be transformational for me. Like I just felt better. Which really just like the 80-20 of that being stop eating like bread, pasta, etc. And I just cognitively felt so much better. And that was what I was most interested in. Was the cognitive impact. And then I read a book called Brain, which like got me even more interested in that, which is basically the same deal. Like lower carbs means less blood sugar spikes, which means less insulin in your blood, which means less mental crashes, yada, 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 yada. But then even like 50 years down the line means less likely to develop Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, even garden variety neurodegenerative dynamics. So, and then the last book I read was Mission in a Bottle by Seth Goldman and Barry Nelbuff, who started Honest Tea. And that got me all fired up about food and bev as an entrepreneurial pursuit. And so all of that wrapped up, I was like, okay, I'm going to start a like paleo brain food company, which sounds kind of silly on the face of it. Also, I'm not an engineer. I always wanted to do something entrepreneurial, but I'm not an engineer. And so I'm sitting there on my couch. I'm like, what could I make within the confines of these 4 walls? And it's a food and bev item. And that was what I landed on.
That's cool. Yeah. I mean, it's funny, the paleo thing. The first time I heard of your product was about 6 or 7 years ago. I had just gone on keto, and I was looking for options and stuff that were, either no carb or low carb. And so that kind of brought me into like this whole thing that was happening at that time, 2020, 2019, something like that, where like there was just all of this influencer stuff going on YouTube. with different, and they were featuring your product. And so I was regularly watching those those programs, those episodes of reviews, and I was seeing your product, and that was originally when I bought your product for the first time.
Yeah, so keto was GLP-1s before GLP-1s. Like that was, it was a mega trend that everyone thought would last a year, 2 years, and it lasted 7 years.
Yeah.
And all the like legacy CPG was, there were no options being produced by General Mills, right, or Pepsi or what have you. And so like all of the keto space was startups, myself included, and we almost stumbled into it. I mean, we were interested in being low net carbon, low glycemic, and low sugar, mostly for cognitive purposes, but everyone else got obsessed with it for weight loss purposes, and I guess cognitive purposes, but primarily it was like a weight loss thing.
Right.
And we, like, I would say, lucked into that, that everyone started caring a lot about it. Now, had we become married to that, that would have created huge existential problems for us when keto died, because when keto died, it really died. I mean, it fell off a cliff. But certainly our biggest like growth step change was almost entirely due to keto.
Interesting. Yeah. Really good. And speaking on that, the book part and the food part and the connection there's a book you might want to read by a gentleman called Chris Collum. I finished it recently. It was a pretty heavy read, but it's called Brain Trust, and it's about the hidden connection between mad cow disease and misdiagnosed Alzheimer's. It's pretty crazy. It's still making me think quite a bit about all that stuff. So back to the product. What was the most painful line item that you can remember from the early days? Was it ingredients, freight, ad costs, chargebacks, returns? Did you experience any of those things?
Manufacturing. I mean, like just making physical stuff. The cold start problem, quote unquote, on manufacturing is a lot worse than the cold start problem on ad buying or legal, or I mean, all those things are a pain in the butt to go from 0 to 1 on, but manufacturing is a real grind going from 0 to 1. So just finding who will make this thing for us, and then also you have to have this moment where you decide, okay, I'm going to do a commissary kitchen, I'm going to make it myself, and then I'm going to scale up slowly and then jump over to the co-packer side, or build my own factory or whatever, or I'm just going to start at the manufacturer level. That's like a key decision point everyone has to grapple with. And I didn't want to do the former. So I was like, okay, if I was going to do the latter, how do I generate all this demand such that I can hit the minimum order with a manufacturer, such that I can just like hit the ground running and make 30,000 units of this thing and sell them all before they expire. So that was very, very hard for a variety of reasons. Number one, I'm no one, right? So convincing someone like why they should work with me and use their line time on me when I could be out of business in 3 months, down to the formula you made in your kitchen scaling to a production line such that you hit a certain throughput such that they can offer you a reasonable tolling figure, to understanding how the product will age because you've never made it, and let it sit around for months. Like there's so much, especially with zero background in CPG or food or beverage. So that was the hardest part by far.
Interesting. Yeah, and I was just gonna say with food items, especially with like Amazon, that's always, when I'm reading reviews, that's always the thing. Is the thing gonna ship and then arrive as expected, right? Sometimes it's a temperature thing, sometimes it's a packaging thing, and a handling thing, no doubt, right? But the thing is, it's always this thing that crops up with food products, especially. I just got some chocolate bars that I can't even eat one of them. They're all just gone. I
mean, that's okay. So there's doing what we do, and then there's which is like hard mode, and then there's like hard mode, and then there's hard mode. Like hard mode is temp issues,
Mm.
i.e., chocolate would be a primary example. And then hard mode would be like beverage, or and then frozen. I don't know, it's somewhere in there. But
frozen's,
yeah, I mean,
tough. That's really tough.
Yeah, I mean, so we from the get-go, we very intentionally didn't cover our products in chocolate for that very reason, because we started on e-com, which was our primary go-to-market strategy, and you just can't ship in the summer if you're covered in chocolate, or if you're selling frozen peas or whatever. So yeah, I don't know how other folks do it, but
it's pretty amazing. But I think I think some other folks do it in the ingredients that they're adding, right, to kind of keep the chocolate from melting, right? Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can. There's nothing that's going to stop that from melting on Austin, Texas doorstep in June, though. Like, it's just not going to happen. And even if you have a failure rate of 10%, right? 9 out of 10 work in June. Well, 10% is a massive failure rate. I mean, that's hundreds of customer service emails and complaints.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. And to your earlier point, like, I don't think people realize how many things can go wrong. Like, you have a formula. So on the upfront, things in that formula might not arrive on time, or they might not arrive according to the spec that you agreed on with the supplier. Packaging might not arrive on time. Let's say by a miracle, you got all your things there on time. Now someone's weighing everything out. Are they going to weigh it out properly every time? What happens if they misweigh something by 10%, which they will do? So your formula actually has to be able to withstand like micro misses on the factory floor.
Yeah.
Then it's blended or whatever your process is. What happens if they blend it 30 seconds too long? Will it break? And then let's say like the machine breaks down while your dough's sitting on the slab line. Well, can your dough withstand exposure to air for an incremental 30 minutes? And then let's say it's wrapped and the folks packing it out, like squeeze it too hard or whatever. And then let's say it's stored in the wrong, according to the wrong specs. And then let's say it gets on a hot truck to Austin, Texas, blah, 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 blah. There's almost infinite ways for things to go wrong.
We got a great question coming in here, a couple of them anyways, from one from Kelly Elaine Garthwaite. Hi, Kelly. She's also the co-host of the Naked Room podcast. You can find it wherever great podcasts are listened to, and that is Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and maybe some other places that I'm unaware of. But her question to you is, what was your biggest hurdle when you first got started?
I mean, it's kind of the manufacturing thing, but I'll give you another one. I would actually like take a step back and say I think what most people struggle with, myself included, is the more just like nebulous big picture stuff. The lifestyle change. Like, I lived in a friend of mine's parents' basement for a year because I had to get my personal expenses to zero. I did all these things. I was like babysitting and dog walking and doing all this crazy stuff. So just like lifestyle, big picture stuff, I would say, like, what is the point of this big picture stuff is also important. Like, you'd be shocked by how many people don't truly play out what is the point of this thing. Is the point to make a lifestyle business, a venture-backed, ultra-high growth business? Is the point to sell it? Is the point to run it forever? Like, people don't, it sounds crazy, they don't deeply think those things through, when, by the way, this is like a 10-year journey. And so if you don't think those through, you're going to have a lot of pain at year 4, especially if you have co-founders, because now both those people have to think those things through, and they have to be aligned for 10 years.
For 10 years, yes.
I mean, everyone lies to themselves and says it'll be 3, 4, 5, and it just like never is. So I'm on year 8, and it'll be at least a 10-year journey. So I would say those are the trickiest things to really personally grapple with.
Okay. Rob Unger is a good pal of ours. I think he's out on the West Coast somewhere. Rob, just nod if you are. He's asking in general, what's the easiest to sell, in your opinion anyways, I guess, for CPG? not in the space, but he's not in the space. He's not in CPG. But do you think that there's certain CPG products that are just easier to sell than others? I would imagine the answer to that is yes.
I do, but I also believe in efficient markets. And so the easier something is to sell, the more people will pile onto it and the harder it'll be to sell. So for example, my gut reaction would be powder. Powder is a beautiful thing. You can put it on a hot boat and it won't go bad. It can sit around for a year and it'll taste basically the same as it tasted a year prior. It's light. It ships efficiently. Powder is a beautiful, beautiful thing, right? Vital Proteins, Liquid IV, all these powder businesses, it's like they didn't deal with many of the things I deal with, right? With a product that includes water and things like that. So that would be my gut reaction. Now, the efficient market thing and flip side of that is, well, everyone knows all these things. And so that's the reason there's 500 electrolyte sachets on Amazon.
Right.
And so and to come back to the what's the point question, well, what's the point? The point is to build a big business and sell it to Unilever. Well, good luck. You're competing with 500 of those other people. And why would they buy you if they can spin that up? So like the hard mode stuff is in and of itself a moat to a pretty large degree. And so I don't think anything's easy. I would say beverage is objectively harder. Like there's just no question about the fact that ultra limited shelf space, the economics don't work for e-com for 9 out of 10 beverages. So that's harder, but I don't know that I would give an example of something that's easy.
And I got to give it to the audience today. Thank you all for showing up. I love this. We got another great question for you, Will, from Stefan Raphael. He's asking if you could talk a little bit about your team and how did you assemble this team, and maybe some of the ways in which you find effective ways to be a leader.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, every problem is a people problem, right? So like we are all in the people business, and every solution is a people solution, by the way. So you're only as good as the humans working on whatever you're working on. I'd say at the beginning, it's really tough because you have no money. And so, convincing someone to jump ship of whatever else they're doing to join you, who's not a co-founder, is very, very, very tough because it's like, I can't pay you much. And by the way, I'm not starting the next NVIDIA. It's a protein bar company, which at the time, and probably still today, it's just not that sexy of a idea, right? Like, let's just be honest about it. So am I going to go convince that really smart person who works at McKinsey to quit their $200,000 job and join me and make 50 grand? Like, no, probably not. So it's just really hard up front. And you just need people who like believe and who will be incentivized. And a couple years in, I hired my wife and she's crushed it. She runs our whole e-commerce business, and cool. We hired one of our first investors. And so it's like, there are these kind of like hacks to get people on board who are going to be bought in, but that's the toughest part up front. Once you're scaled and ideally, God willing, profitable, it gets a lot easier, but it's still hard. I mean, it's, so I think, I'm not going to say anything super innovative here. It helps if the company is doing well. It helps if you're growing fast. It helps if there are prospects for an exit. It helps if you're a product people can get behind because it's healthy or good for society or what have you, right? But ultimately, like, we can do a whole bit on this, but we have a very, very small team. I mean, we're 15 now, but we were like sub 10 like 6 months ago. And for a large business.
Yeah.
Because it's so hard to hire great people. And we've had like a hub and spoke model where we have a ton of third parties around. So I would say we're a bit contrary in that regard. We're probably 2 to 3 times smaller headcount per revenue ratio than a comparable company, because it is that hard.
Okay. We do, and don't go anywhere. and I'm talking to Robert too, because I see him trying to move off screen in the green room. And don't you go anywhere, Will. We've got a couple of blasts from the past. I'm sure you'll recognize them unless their orange matching jumpsuit vests throw you off. Let's bring these guys in and continue this conversation, because we've been talking about a lot of things so far, and there's a lot of things we still have left to talk about. So here we go.
Other news, Robert Cogan.
Robert Cogan. Cogan has succeeded.
Cogan has just returned.
Welcome to Making Things Happen with Robert Cogan.
And we got a twofer today, Will. We got
Mr. Moniz beside me most of the time.
and Rich Moniz from Rich Insights.
Yes.
Welcome to the program, guys. I know you guys have probably all had a lot more interactions with Will than Jeff and I have, but welcome back. What's going on? What are you doing? Where are you? Are you in the
what's going on?
Book repository, or what are you doing?
Easy on that one.
Yeah.
We're at the powerful energy aisle of the formerly Timex, now Apps warehouse at the intersection of the highway. You guys call them interstates, 403 and the QEW, just west of Toronto and Oakville.
I got to ask, is there an acronym for that location that you're in?
Well, the company that bought Timex is called APPS, so apps. Acronym? Okay. What are we in? Aisle? Neem, we're in aisle what, 15? Yeah.
A15. Okay. That's where you're at. We were talking earlier today a little bit, and it's interesting because you know, I feel like you guys have, and you know, correct me if I'm incorrect. You know, you guys have scaled up quite a bit, and you've got this team of about 15 that you've started with. And we were talking earlier about, you know, people talk about, you know, companies that can scale up to 100 million revenue, but then they're still in debt, 20 million or this or that. And then Robert, you were talking to me a lot about something that I think was really interesting. And that was revenue per, was it revenue per employee or?
Yeah, just a common ratio way of looking at things, because ratios are pretty much how you judge economic performance. Coming from the real estate world, everything's a ratio. Per square foot, sales per square foot, per square meter, whatever it is, cost per square foot. Everything is based on that. So as we talk about the different noise that we see out there, we sold for 150 mil, and that's it. Or we hit 100 million in sales, and you don't have anything else. Every other business seems to have an understanding. Like when people tell me there's a cost for a product, they don't tell me how many in a case, how many in a pallet, what the weight is, where it's coming from, so I can calculate all those equations. It seems that a lot of what we're talking about here is sort of like equations, like from the chess moves that you were talking about, Will, to just the different steps. I mean, if anybody wants to start a brand and they don't realize the 55 things that can go wrong with the 10 examples you gave, Will, on that density, quality of the production, and all of the logistics things to happen, it's probably about 100 things that got to be done right. I call it an equation, so you can have something on the other end of the equal sign. But revenue per employee, you know, I've never pried, but well, 15 people down to 10, muzzle tub on that one, because a lot of these companies out there are flashing out big numbers with no insight to what the EBITDA is and the net. So that's what I mean about revenue per employee.
Okay. Thoughts on that? Is that something that ever just crosses your mind, Will?
Oh, I think he's on mute.
Oh,
sorry.
I'm back.
Or maybe
it crosses my mind only every day. Yeah, no, I mean, well, okay, so let's reverse to the early days. What really costs you a lot of money is overhead, and then in the later days, what really costs you money is inventory, right? That flips at some point. But in the early days, you're like let's just start with, I need to make a salary, or I need to have enough money to buy groceries and pay rent, and then now a second person needs enough money to do that, and a third and a fourth, and about. So I mostly think about inventory now, but in the earlier days, I thought intimately about overhead costs, which is a derivative of headcount. I think it's one thing that's I would hedge a little bit with is third parties are effectively FTEs, so you can kind of game things a bit by saying I have a really low headcount, but I have a lawyer on retainer and 5 brokers on retainer, and I have Amazon agency and a D2C, which we do, by the way. So ultimately, like net profitability or EBITDA, which is a close cousin of net profitability. You can't hide behind any that is the true North Star. But certainly it helps to get there if you're light on the overhead side.
That's a good point, because I think you're having an extended team, right? They're still team members, right? Even though they might not be employees directly.
But here's what I would say is like a kind of an important distinction is, you can hire and fire third parties. You can renegotiate retainers with third parties. You can need them one year and not the next, and it's a very different relationship, and it's far more dynamic, I would say, than employees, which you have to think about the career plan and how you frame things and blah blah blah. It's a very different relationship.
Yeah.
I think a small hub of just absolute killers with really excellent third parties that you can be shifting around is my preferred way of operating, because you can move faster and you can scale up faster. Like often third parties can scale up faster than you can internally scale up. So it'll agency XYZ can scale in a week, and it would take me 6 months to hire the people to do the work that they would, incremental work they would be doing. So it's just more scalable. But yeah, ultimately it all flows to the bottom line, right? Like, so.
Okay. Hey, I got a question.
Go for it.
Shoot, Peter. There you go. That's all I was waiting. I don't know. Robert keeps leaving these creepy voicemails on my machine about something he's calling taboo arbitrage.
Oh boy.
I thought it was a band, but apparently it isn't. I thought it was a Canadian band, frankly.
That's not a bad band name.
It's not a bad name. So can anybody here tell me a little bit more about what they know about taboo arbitrage?
I mean, that was one of 5,000 harebrained ideas I've posted about. For whatever reason, that really resonated with Robert's. But yeah, I'll get into it. I mean, but the basic idea is there are things that are taboo societally, and or at the big corporate level. So butt wipes would be an example, right? It's just inherently like taboo or awkward to talk about feces. And because it is inherently taboo or awkward, they just don't do it, right? Like Procter & Gamble doesn't make poop jokes because it's taboo. But dude wipes can, like that arbitrage, that it's an unfair advantage for dude wipes or good wipes or what have you. They can make all those jokes. And so they're playing with a stacked deck effectively. And in business, you're always looking for unfair advantages. You're always looking for a stacked deck. And so I'm always a little jealous of companies that can leverage taboo arbitrage. We're not leveraging it in any meaningful way, but that would be a good example. I guess the
shareholder thing, right? You can't make them upset about whatever you're doing.
Yeah, and
I like the For Smart Mouth tagline. For Smart Mouth, that's a little step towards.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that too.
I think there's always a nice little, you can be risky or edgy without being vulgar, or you don't have to turn everything, shocking humor or stunning, text or messaging doesn't always have to come out like it's Howard Stern. It can be done in an intelligent way.
I mean, by the way, there are 10 other arbitrages, right, that you can leverage. The only way that startups survive is through arbitrages. There's a speed arbitrage. There's a human element arbitrage. I'm a founder. I'm talking to you guys, right? There's Procter & Gamble, who the founder's long gone. So I can arbitrage that. yada yada yada. Like speed is honestly the biggest one. But taboo arbitrage just happens to be one in a long list. So I'm not saying we don't leverage that principle. I just wish I could. It would be fun to be a THC beverage. Like that's another great category, right? THC drinks have this huge arbitrage because no one wants to touch it because of regulatory concerns and whatnot.
Yep.
So it's kind of a fun concept.
It makes me think of the product that I never got off the ground, which was Vitarets. It was just cigarettes that you smoked your vitamins. There was nothing bad in it. You just got all your vitamins through the cool, casual, relaxing essence of sitting down.
Boom Boom is a great product. And you inhale it, and it's non-substance, non-addictive, whatever. Yeah, I agree. I like that delivery mechanism.
They will be sending the same letter over to them shortly. Now, go ahead. Who is there?
Me, but I want to say a couple words and then shut up. I want to make sure Richard doesn't just show up and not say one word. But sometimes happens with these.
I'm coming to him. I'm coming to him.
I thought I was just here to work.
No, you're eye candy.
There's something that is going on. It happened about down at the end of the aisle. I got a call from Ken from Pacific Candy Wholesale. Will is indirectly responsible for this. Over the past year or two, I've been bugging him to just put all the brands up that I bring in. Melting Forest, IQBar, Moosh, 7Ts, Perfy Soda. Throw it up there, see what happens. And for a year or so, he just laughs at me and looks at me and goes, they just want to buy Mountain Dew. Well, about 2 weeks ago, down the aisle there, he calls me up, and we're still recovering from the holidays, and he goes, there's all this keto stuff, Robert. I got to set up a health site. Well, and I assigned myself the curator and boss man of the new Pacific, I don't want to say candy, the Pacific something blank site. So we're going to be launching that, and we're going to try to incorporate Mr. Moniz into it because it's a sensitive issue here with Richard. I mean, here, let me give you an example. Richard, what do you think of Melting Forest labels? See? Pressure question, got to be polite. Doesn't insult everybody. It's like going to a therapist.
They likely stand out on the shelf. They might be a little bit busy to understand.
You see? Now I got to explain to Sean and Dave that they might want to talk to Richard about toning things down a bit. But anyway, that's just an example. The Pacific Candy Wholesale is a pretty serious thing. They're a subsidiary of a company called Morgan Williams. They are responsible for about 60-70% of all the imports into Canada from the UK. So if they have a subsidiary called Pacific Candy Wholesale selling to about 500 independent stores across Canada, it tells you something, that there's a business there. So I couldn't be prouder because we take a lot of heat in the BFY business. You know, way back there on the other side of the warehouse are like hundreds of pallets of beer, all sorts of alcohol.
I guys know that for you.
Yeah, I know. And you guys know a little bit about the Coca-Cola, Pepsi wholesaling that I've been doing involuntarily. Never wanted to, and not really going to do it much anymore. But that's the big news from this week, is that with all the momentum, thanks to partly to you, Will, thanks to the guys at Melting Forest and a few other good products, the Moosh, can't forget the Moosh. It's not
The Moosh.
You know, you brought it up again, and we've talked about it a little bit before, and I wanted to ask Will some questions about, and I actually, this is good for Rich and you, Rob, and Jeff. You know, I was going through some of your content, Will, and you've got great content. Kudos on that. Consumer trend whiplash, chasing versus leading. You talked about the consumer trend whiplash. How do you tell the difference between a real behavior shift and a dopamine-fueled fad? How do you keep up with a CPG brand from chasing the internet around like a golden retriever goes after a tennis ball? So the question I have for all of you, and anybody in the audience, you want to drop a comment in there and tell us what you think, please do so. What's a trend that you think is real and durable? And maybe add on one that you think is just mostly noise. And let's go around the horn. Will, you're our guest. Would you like to take the first crack at this?
Sure. I would say, I think evaluating trends at a surface level is the wrong thing to do. Or I don't like to do that. I just start with like science, because science is evergreen, and A good example there would be like creatine. We've known for a very long time that creatine monohydrate is good for you if you're sleep deprived. It's good for metabolic health of your cells, like blah, blah, blah. There are all these cognitive and bodily downstream benefits of creatine. It has not been popular in the mass market until now, or until whatever, 2 years ago. But we had known for a decade prior that it had all these beneficial impacts. So that just was a trend that was going to happen. It was a question of when, because our physiology doesn't change. Like it's coming. And so that's a trend I would have bet on. So I generally try to stick with physiologically based trends. And now that's not impermeable. Like keto, you could say, was physiologically based. And in fact, you do lose weight on the keto diet, and that died. So does that contradict what I just said? Like maybe, right? Like nothing's bulletproof. No one could have seen GLP-1s. But just in terms of like playing the odds, I would start with physiology. So anyway, to answer your question, creatine is one that I like in the long run. A trend that I think will fizzle out. I think maybe hydration. I would go back to the earlier one. I think hydration is way too saturated. It's not sustainably. There are too many entrants into that category. Like hydration is important, but it's always been important and always will be. And we are oversupplied on the hydration side.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
How
And I
about
still a hydration product.
Yeah, no. And Richard, what do you think? What are you seeing? Of course, from Rich Insights, you see you're digitally eye tracking lots of packaging and things like that. So you come across multiple different brands in multiple different states of array or disarray. What are your thoughts on that? Is there a
honestly, I'm seeing protein, like that's been around for a little while, but when you see how, a brand that has the biggest protein amount, how well they can dominate their category, that's been sort of a trend that I've noticed across categories now, where just having the biggest number on your package is almost like a cheat code to dominating the category right now. So any way that you can both physically put the biggest number on there, like the biggest font, but also have the biggest number, is like an instant cheat code to winning your category. If protein is playing a role in that category at all. In terms of dying out, I don't know. That's a tougher one for sure.
I got a hint for you. 2 for $4.
Yeah, I mean, I guess an obvious one would be alcohol. Like alcohol has been on a pretty big decline, and then non-alc coming in with force, where there's like non-alc specialized stores and things like that. That could be one that I think is sort of on its way out. And like Will said, there was a time even a few years ago where there was a ton of new microbreweries and stuff getting into it, but I don't see that being very viable going forward.
Interesting. Jeff, any other thoughts on your end? Because we do have a prize to give away today, and we should get to that before we have to cut everybody loose.
Yes.
What are your thoughts?
No, I would also, it's funny, protein is a trend, but I just don't see how much longer it's going to hold. And the reason is because GLP-1s are it's so new, right? And we're already starting to see a little bit of a backlash with it in terms of people being like denied getting it for different reasons, especially if they're just using it to lose weight. So I think there's going to be this like tipping point in the next like couple of years where that trend is just going to maybe fall flat or just kind of start fading out.
Interesting.
I got to change to the question, Peter.
Oh, go for it.
There's a really good guy up at Eco Ideas, TC. Will and I, we spoke with TC about some labeling a year or so ago. We're walking down the aisle at the show, and he just says to me, "This mushroom, lion's mane, and all that stuff, regiment, very different than a trend."
Oh,
And I've been trying to wrap my head around this for a while. Trends that I think are going to die out, prebiotic, quite frankly, because it got social media exploded in such a bubblegum, pink and purple type of way. And it worked. So, but 2 for $4 is what you see now, based on look at the word fizzle show up right there. Question.
Joshua.
And I think that,
Joshua Fizzle shirts.
Yes.
but that I went backwards. That's what I think is going to be dying out a little because of saturation. What I think is coming in a regiment are things that you're involved with, Will. The L-theanine, the lion's mane, the things that people are actually taking regularly and feeling, I feel a little less shitty than I did yesterday or last week. So I think those are, but regiment is a better word, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know, I would add to that because it, one of the things that we find, we were talking about craft beer. Like, does every single craft beer can have to have a picture of a barley or a hop on it or something, right? No. So the thing is, I have one of your bars here, but like, I don't think you have to like put a mushroom on it if it comes with mushroom, right? So like, I think some of this stuff is so forced when you see it on the packaging, as though I didn't know it was beer, right? So and beer uses hops. So I think what I like is that when these ingredients become mainstream, instead of being like this hippie dippy thing going on all the time, where mushrooms are so connected to like a psychedelic thing, and I don't think that necessarily is the right move to get it mainstream.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All of those products, Jeff, that have gone, if they want to sit at the big boy table or the big girl table, they got to get over the whole playing into the tropes. It's unless you're selling a psychoactive mushroom, which I would think there's probably very few places that is allowed. It's time to take a seat at the big table and represent for what you are. Show a product or a package that is solving a problem for people. Allow the people to choose your product as their solution to their problem, i.e. they become a hero, they become the one that saves the day themselves. Your product, that, let's say that mushroom reishi or whatnot, it becomes the supporter of it. It's sort of the Jiminy Cricket to the Pinocchio. But when they come
Bill,
across,
you're a great example. You got the lion's mane ingredient. We don't see a mushroom on the label.
Brain nutrients.
And Sean, coming from the CBD Living brand and that type of functional world, they've got the full-scale mushroom imagery on all over everything.
I mean, I'm not opposed to, design-wise and creativity-wise. I think it could be done well or done tastefully, or sometimes there's just enough room for everybody. But I think people fall into that trope of like, if it's a beer can, there's got to be a hop on it.
Hey, instant question for Will. How many variations of the design did you go through in the early years?
Oh, many. Yeah. I mean, so the way to think about these types of things is, there's many ways to look at it, but one way we looked at it is post-purchase surveys, and we said, why do you buy our product? And oftentimes we think people buy our product for completely different reasons why they actually buy our product. So what we wanted them to say is, oh, I buy it because it has all these cool brain nutrients. And that's like, some people said that, 10%, but actually 9 out of 10 said, oh, we buy our product because it's high in plant protein and I can't digest whey protein, or it's low sugar, or it's low net carb, or it's clean label, right? Those are like the top ones. Okay, like at that point you have to have a come to Jesus moment of, you have to be willing to shift who you are as a company and product if you want to grow and ultimately become a mass market item. So we completely inverted the way we talk to the customer of, oh, this is brain food. Like our very first product, it had a little tagline that said brain food to, this is a low sugar, clean label plant protein bar that, by the way, has some cool lion's mane, magnesium, whatever.
Right.
And so that was the door closer, not the door opener, which fundamentally changes everything, because now you can sell in Walmart and Target and Costco, and Sam's Club and whatnot. You also have to fundamentally understand at a mass scale, how do people shop your category? So if you're selling just mushroom powder, well, yeah, hammer that and sell it in very specific retailers. And for that category, I'm buying it as a supplement, and I'm looking for that. And you can build a very big business. That's not how people buy bars, though. So you have to intimately understand the bar buyer or the chip buyer if you sell chips or whatever. And so the bar buyer, they run through a very basic list in their mind when they look at a shelf or a digital shelf, which is protein/protein source, sugar, net carbs if they care about that, label, cleanliness, price. Like, and if you don't check all of those for them, you can't even get to like your story and why we're cool and you look at our pretty looking pack. Like, you have to check all those things. Now, if you're selling a chip, it's completely different. It's what's the crunch like, and is it cooked in avocado oil or is it cooked in canola? Like, so understand your specific like why people buy your stuff, and then understand writ large the category, how people shop that category.
Okay. Interesting.
That's great points.
So, guys, what do we have for a prize today to give away to our folks that are left?
There's a 2-question on the prize. They have to pick their flavor.
They have to pick their flavor?
Oh.
Yeah. What are the options?
Except salted caramel, exclusive to Target, right?
Okay. So what are our options? Well, first of all, let's do this. Let's not do that. We can get to that on the after end, the other end. Jeff, we've got a trivia question on what are we giving away? In fact,
we're going to give 2 caddies of IQBar, but they can.
Yeah, baby. 2 caddies of IQBar. All right.
Nice.
So,
and they're going to get some IQ mix as well.
Okay. I love it. We've got a trivia question. Jeff, I believe you're going to read it.
This is a different one for us.
It's really not one that you're going to be able to Google, I would think.
I know. I don't think they can Google it or Chat GPT.
We're all in, Will, if you're like, I'm sorry, guys, I got to go. I can't hang around for this. We'll give them a few minutes. We'll see if we can get it out of the door. And then I'd like to close out with a few things about you and where people can find out more. Awesome. So, Jeff, hit it.
All right. So the trivia question is, in what year was Peter born on January 13th?
You really twisted that question around, made it dramatic, and yeah, I like it. Okay, so January 13th is my birthday. Don't forget, it's coming up, so don't fuck that up. And but what year was
it? What year was it that he was born?
It was definitely not 1929.
Just give your guesses.
And while we're doing that,
night, but I wasn't born last
say hello to Stevie D. Stevie D just showed up. Steve, don't take me.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
Our favorite partners, associates, and smart guys. He's already picked his flavor.
He's already picked his flavor. Oh. Now he has to pry the answer out of.
This is my
check
jam.
Perplexity.
Wild blueberry. That is my jam.
There's something else. I don't want this podcast to end until.
Sandra, you're very kind. Thank you.
1979.
1955. I never liked Steve Duntingy. I never liked him.
You never liked him, right?
I have a question for Will.
I can tell you guys it's somewhere in between there.
Yes.
Will, how many times do people tell you they love the crunchies?
The crunchies? What are crunchies?
The little things you put in your IQ bar. That
make okay, yeah, crisp, yeah.
Crunch.
How many times do they tell me? I don't know. Once a month? Why do you ask?
Because I love those crispy crunchies. That's whenever I give somebody an IQ bar, they look at me, what's this? What's this? Try it. Close to a chocolate bar, and you'll live a minute longer, maybe 2, if you have this instead of a Snickers. And then I just say, you're going to love those little crunchy Krispies. That's why.
I like it.
I think
I got to get you on an ad.
I've got and I'm really loving Haley here. She's given a lot of love for me being born in 1981. I'll tell you, I was doing things in 1981 you can't even imagine. My wife was born in 1981. She's like, seriously, dude? I'm like, I was in like at concerts and in bars.
I'm not even touching this one.
Oh God, Rob!
How old is Peter Luck?
Running away at 1967, like the birth date's gonna change.
Do a stab at it, but I'm off.
You're supposed
Come
to
on, kids.
Richard, you should get this easy with the.
Oh, we have a winner.
There he is, Steve Dontingy. I always
1969.
All right, we're going to
Woodstock.
hook him up with a prize.
Yes.
The prize we said we would. Hey, Will, you've been a real great guest today, and it's been a joy to have you on, and we appreciate it because we know how busy you are. And, where can people find out more about you? What do you want to leave them with about IQBar and your brand in general? And, what can they expect to hear if they seek out Eating Glass Podcast?
Man, the podcast I have not done in a while, but we will reboot that. So stay posted. But we have a good catalog of episodes, so check that out. EatIQBar.com. Find us in Walmart, Target, Costco, Sam's, Sprouts. Probably we're right down the street from you, or Amazon. What you can expect from me? Not much. I'll put out thoughts on LinkedIn or Twitter, and that's about it. That's about all you can expect.
Before you go, though, we have to know: like, is it Dachshund or Dachshund?
I don't. I'm not the authority on that. I think both are. I say Dachshund, but I've heard that people say Dachshund or Dachshund.
Dachshund.
I mean, it's a German. It's what it means is badger dog.
Badger dog.
Yeah.
Look at that fella.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Well, you skipped over one little detail there about where you're available.
Oh no!
Available in Canada.
Oh, in Canada.
Oh snap!
There you go.
Oh, snap.
Canada.
That big old pallet behind you, Rob.
Actually, that's our test market program with the independents.
Okay.
There'll be some news coming. News coming when it happens over the next. I don't know.
Hot news.
Son.
All right, maybe we'll do a late night break-in dogs bulletin or something, and just break it when it comes live. We did not ever get around to the song I wrote about parfaits, and that's unfortunate. That's everyone's loss, frankly. And we didn't get a chance to talk about the Saturday morning cartoon hit that's a frenzy in Papua New Guinea, which is called Spatchy the Spatula. But we'll get to that another day. Hey, Will, thanks again, man, for playing along and being part of this. We really like it. And Rob Unger, I never cared for you. And so, yeah. And
Thanks
Rich,
for having me.
Rob, thank you. Jeff, as always, you're a lovely, lovely counterpart. And we're all going to head back to the green room and enjoy that pound cake. The rest of you, make sure you connect with everybody you find on here if you're not already connected. And Julie Elder, she got it right, but way too late. You guys have a great day. We'll see you next Thursday with God knows who. Same bat time, same bat channel, okay? See you guys. And here we go.